We are going to talk about Power Platform snippets. Specifically, we're going to take a little dive into the Devo world of the 80s with it good, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that first. I am David Warner. Typically here with me is April Dunham. We both are very passionate about this topic. We've set up badges. We've done a lot of videos. So please like and subscribe and follow us on YouTube, because we have all kinds of cool information there that covers this spectrum of snippets, as well as other areas of reusability components within Power Platforms, such as component libraries and all that good stuff. So what's in store for us? Well, what are snippets? You might be brand new to them. We're going to briefly go over what they are. We're going to talk about the with function overview, and then we're going to with it good for snippets and see how we can do that. We see, inspired by our little Devo Lego man there that is ready for us. All right, so what are snippets? Well, you can use them in Power Apps. You can use them in Power Automate, Copilot Studio. They are available to you. Essentially, it's just YAML. So what is YAML? Well, it started out as something called yet another markup language, kind of like XML, kind of like JSON, and then it got tired of being considered that. It had to change its name to YAML ain't markup language. So it's gone through a little bit of an identity crisis, but it is still super, super powerful for us. So let's jump into a demo right away. We're going to see how Devo would with it, and we'll enjoy the show. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to go over here into Power Apps. So let's start out with a little bit about the with function. What is it? Well, when you look at with, I've got some context here that I'm going to set. I'm in Power Apps. I've got a label here that we're going to use, and I've got an out-of-the-box image. Real simple stuff. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my text label here, and the typical text that's there, I'm going to replace that, and I'm going to start typing with. All right, and of course, we know we get a little bit of information here, so it's always good to be understanding of what with is, what the information is we're with. So it tells us the first thing is scope, and that's a fancy way of saying you're going to get a record there, and there's multiple values that you could have in that record that then you're going to be able to reference within your formula. So it makes it easy to make changes down here in the formula area with information that you've had stored there in scope. Did I get you? Am I making my point clear? I can't tell. Right. Okay, so there we go. So what does that look like? Well, the thing that I like to say about the with function is that it is like a mutant shapeshifter, because its data type that it outputs can be different based on what you have in that formula value, right? So what does that look like? So I'm going to take a couple things here. I'm going to start just copying and pasting some stuff for efficiency. And we'll log in and we'll format the text. So what I'm doing is I'm creating that scope area first. It's essentially record of one or more values. So I'm creating the key value, or the key called app version. And then I'm just taking the app and calling it grabbing the studio version. And then within my formula, what I'm doing is I'm outputting a text string concatenated with that key value variable that I created in my record, right? So what does that look like down below here? Well, you can see I've got app version and 3.25, whatever the version is, right? Now, the key that I want to point out, though, is whenever you highlight your code here in Power Apps, you're able to see the data type, right? So I want to point this out, because what we've got is we've got a text type. That means it's outputting text. Well, yeah, that seems to be no problem, right? Duh. We've got text here, we've got a variable here, and we're concatenating the two together. Simple stuff. It's going to get more complex and show you the power of it. But what if we added additional information there into our particular record and output, right? So I'm going to paste that there, format, because the pasting don't like me. What I've done is I've added another key, right? Image info, and just a sample image control, right? That's just a sample image that's included in every Power App that you can reference for that little kind of, looking placeholder image, right? And what I've done is I've now said image info, and down here in the actual text area, it's outputting the text value of that image. So it's not actually outputting the image, it's converting it because I'm using a string combined with the image, even though that is an image. And so again, look here, it's seeing it as text. Okay, so now what's interesting though is if I remove the label from that, I just remove from my formula area and I just have the image info, and let me shrink that, there we go. And now if I were to highlight this, what's your guess on the data type it would be? Well, let's find out. When I select that, whoa, look at that, shape shifted. It's an image. Now, because it's in a label, it's still showing the text value of that label, right? So it's smart enough to say, hey, you're putting this into a text area, although I can't show an image in the text label. So I'm going to convert the actual label value or the image value into a label. But what's cool is what if I were to now add this into the actual image control, right? So I got an image control over here, just using that sample image. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another width, right? And I'm going to select all, paste, format, there we go. And I select, right, data type image. And of course, it doesn't look any different because I'm just using that sample image, right? So visually, you don't see any difference, but we do see now it is outputting an image. And hey, by the way, do we have to use an actual image here that's uploaded into media? Well, no, I'm so glad you asked. We could actually use a text URL to an image, right? So if I do that, what I'm doing now is I'm taking a URL just to my logo on my blog site, and I'm putting that in for the image key, right, which is a value in that record, and now I'm outputting it as image. And what's interesting, again, the smarts of Power Apps is that it sees it as text because that's really what this is. But because Power Apps says, hey, it is text, but you put it in an image control, and now I'm going to convert it to an image. So it's doing the opposite of what the text label did down here, which is kind of super cool, right? So giving you some context to the power of width, there's so much more to it. Like I said, it's like a mutant shapeshifter, which is going to give you a lot of power. So what can that look like in the scope of a particular YAML snippet? Well, let's come down to another example. Here we go. We have, for example, this gallery. I've created a gallery here, and I've used this before, and we've got a SVG that is acting as the frame, right? So all these little Lego pieces and stuff like that, they are kind of framing my gallery. It's a creative way to do galleries. I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I've got a lot more coming out on this, so stay tuned. But I'm excited because when you talk about galleries, you've got layers that you can work with, right? So if I wanted to change the colors within my galleries, or within my SVG, I should say, SVGs are nothing but XML, right? So when I come in here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And if I were to scroll through here and try to find like, well, wait, where's purple, right? If someone's pasting this in and going to reuse it, well, now I've got to be like, well, where's purple? I want to change purple. Okay, well, there it is right there. Let's go for an Oompa Loompa, green and orange. The experience is not great. And so if you're giving someone a YAML snippet, which is a modular piece of code that can be copied and pasted between an app or into a brand new app, it's all about presentation. It's all about adoption. Make it easy on them, right? This is not an easy experience when you're dealing with SVGs. But by the way, you should be using SVGs or base64 for your images because they carry over perfectly, right? So, okay, let's get back into that's without, right? So I've got a little bit without. No, that's not good. So what can we do with? If we start implementing with, how can we make that work? So here's the exact same gallery. I'm going to come down to my frame. And what I've done now is I've implemented the width here. So what I've done is at the top of the width, I've created my record, which has something called primary brick color, secondary brick color, purple and orange. So now I don't have to go searching down here to find exactly where I want to change it. I've already set up my SVG so that it's referencing that per primary brick. And I can find it here by just doing a search. We see it right down there. I've got a few different areas that it is, right? So if I go back to the top and we change that purple to green, now that makes it super easy, right? It's super easy to do it and make that change totally doable. And again, if I wanted to make changes elsewhere, I wanted to change orange to something else, I could do that. If I wanted to make more than just the two, I can do that. So you kind of see what width does in the scope of a YAML snippet is when someone pastes it into a new app, it makes it much more adjustable and dynamic, and they can change it with ease. It's all about adoption, making it easier on your makers, your new makers, your experienced makers. Everybody wants less work to do, so make it easy on them. Now, this is as simple as it gets. Very, very cool, right? But did you know, wait, there's more. We can do more. Did you know that you can use an if within your width? If within width? You betcha. So let's take a look here. We're back inside of our Lego outfit here, right? And so up here, I've got the same thing going on right here. I've got the width. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I've also got a background color for my frame, right? So right over here, and you can't see because it's all white. Right now, what does that matter? Why does that matter? Well, it's because this is off of Dataverse. So if I come over and look at Dataverse and I go to edit data, and come on, you can do it. I'm pulling in the images here, right? But I've also got a background color. Let me scroll over here. There we go. I've got a background color toggle flag, right? So some of these have transparent PNGs, some of them don't, some of them white. So I'm saying, hey, for those that are transparent, I want to be able to put on a background color and make it look nice, right? Super cool. Okay, so I need now some conditional statements to do that with. So how can that work? Well, right now, if I wanted to, I could add an if value actually here within my record area. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a comma, paste that in there. And so now what I'm doing is I'm saying if this item, because that's referencing the individual items within my gallery, right? I'm checking the background color, equals yes, I want it to be violet. Otherwise, I want it to be white. Now, you'll notice nothing changed here. That's because I didn't change or add my key value right over there. So let me take background color, and I'm going to come over and replace that with background color. And now you'll notice that everything here is adjusting dynamically based on the data in my Dataverse. How awesome is that, right? So the width isn't just about making changes, it's about reacting to data that is dynamic. So it's super, super cool. Now we're running a little low on time. I do want to say that there's a lot of other things you can do. I'll come back to show off some other things. For example, you can use width to set up things like animations, right? Notice I'm in a gallery and I'm able to animate each of these individual gallery items for a nice little scrolling effect. And it happens, there's lots of different use cases. So it is so creative, the different ways in which you can use width. And again, I'll have to show that off in another time. But I do want to show you that here, when I do this, if I come in, and this is the wow factor, right? I've got my code here. I copy this. I go into a brand new app, onto a brand new screen, and I paste. Everything is going to work. Boom, look at that, because I've hard-coded data in it. The width works because it's using modular information of SVGs. So now when I paste this in to go reuse it, it works, and I can replace the data with live data, and it's super awesome, right? So really, really cool. Okay, let's wrap this up, everybody. And I got to say, get ready. I promise you a lyrical snack. You're going to love it. You're going to hate it. We'll see. Let's go. When a snippet comes along, you must with it. If your content feels too long, you must with it. When the formula goes wrong, you must with it. Now with it, into shape, scope it up, get straight, go forward, move ahead, try to refactor. It's not too late to with it good. There you go. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's some resources here. Yeah, I crack myself up. All right, some resources, check them out. We'll put them in the links. We'll put them in the chat. We'll put them in YouTube. We'll share them with everybody.